All right, welcome back, everybody, to yet another episode of Mindcation. Today is Thursday, June 25th that we're recording this. This goes live on June 26th. I had to check the date. I always forget. It's easier to say the date than for me to keep track of which episode this is. So, you ready for that? Boys, how we doing?
Solid.
I'm eating chicken.
Just chicken?
Chicken and rice.
Ah, classic.
Yeah. College student diet right there. Meal prep. A1.
About to make some eggs myself after this, probably with some of the thick ass bacon.
Toast.
Toast. Yeah. So over easy.
Dave's Killer Bread.
What?
Dave's Killer Bread.
So right now, unfortunately, I only have Dave's Killer Bread bagels.
They're
bagels.
But those are still fire though. Those are fire,
dude.
though.
Yeah.
Bagels are fire.
But it's cinnamon raisin, so I'm not about to mix my over easy eggs and shit with cinnamon raisin. You know, that's just
why not?
That's a fucking crime. You can't tell me you do that, bro.
Bro, it might taste good though.
It might. I mean, I'd have to try it for sure, but I don't know.
But not today.
Not today. No.
It could offset your taste buds. You know.
True.
Know how your taste buds can only sense one thing at once.
It's true. I did try like these cheddar bites that are like pretzel bites, but they're like coated in cheddar. My dad really likes. I used to hate them though, but I tried them again 2 days ago, and they were really good. So
because as you get older, you lose taste buds.
Right. So and kind of
you don't taste as well. So then just everything tastes the same.
Right.
Or else you're just trying to bulk and you're just trying to eat.
Yeah, I have been needing to eat more lately, so that's been a part of the challenge.
So here's a weird question for you guys. This might just be me. So like I know a lot of people like it's important that you eat right after you work out, right? Or it just depends on your meals. Usually you want to eat right after you work out, get calories.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like for me, right after I work out, I'm never hungry after I work out. Is that just me, or is that you guys too?
Nope. So like, I have a really hard.
Yeah, it's like an hour to an hour and a half. I don't want to eat at all. So
that's why I just do milk. I just drink milk after because it's really easier for me to like slam some milk after because it feels refreshing and it kind of fills me up a little bit. But it was important for me to try to get something in right after, and I couldn't eat either because
for me, as long like I couldn't eat like a big meal, but like if I had like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, something like that, something where I'd get some protein, carbohydrates back, and it just depends on like. If I work out in the morning, then I'm not as hungry. But if I work out in like the afternoon, I've been finding myself more hungry. So I just think it depends on the day and like how much food I've previously had before I worked out. For me, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
For me, like I'm always super hungry after I eat because I always work out fasted. Like I hardly ever eat anything before I work out.
Yep.
So I'm always ready to eat once I'm done working out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was just curious if that was just me.
Hell yeah. I'll tell you who else likes to eat a lot after they work out probably is Julius Maddox, the 800-pound bench press attempt.
That was almost a good transition.
Yeah, kind of.
It was cheesy.
I'll give it props.
I tried.
I'll give it a thumbs up.
But yeah,
like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll work on transitions, maybe hiding the conversation towards, bench press. Oh yeah, did you hear about the crazy meat thing that happened recently with the 100 pounds? Okay, anyway, 800-pound bench press attempt this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The drama surrounding it. There's lots of kind of controversy, but not really controversy, but a lot of conversations being had about there was a misload on the 800-pound attempt. I think it was his second or third attempt inside the bench-only meet. Just smoked the first one I saw. I think it was around 750-something. But the second one was misloaded. There was a whole 55-pound red plate missing from one side. And so obviously when he lifted it off, it was just tilted right towards one side, which can cause a lot of injury even for the loaders and spotters. And so Mr. Irregular Strength is his Instagram handle. And his team were obviously pretty livid and pretty mad about the situation and the not double checking from the refs, which is something that they're supposed to do before the lift, especially when it's a world record, like kind of want to have that shit on lock. But it was just kind of a human mistake that multiple people made in synchronization to make this happen. So, and then he, like a champ, went for 800 after that. Didn't hurt him at all, but he ended up not getting it just because the lockout was kind of rough and kind of hit with some adversity right there in the beginning. But I definitely think he has it in him, watching his training videos and all that stuff. I think under better conditions it would have been a lot better. But
the people that were loading the weight, were they not from his team?
Nope.
Like I know when Thor did his world record, that was all in house, right? And so like it was all his people.
Yeah. So his spotter was his person though.
Yeah.
Like the head spotter, the guy that lifts it off.
I mean, the judge wasn't Thor's guy, I guess, but the people like the loaders, like his dad was one of the guys that was helping him load the weight on there. So.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, it was just a big mistake that kind of led to a bunch of other stuff. And now there's a Russian strongman that's calling out Thor for his deadlift record, which is crazy. But now Thor is, as everybody knows, a retired strongman. So kind of see where that goes because
he's actually not retired because he's currently training for Iceland's strongest man.
Right. Yeah, he's retired from the
World
Strongman Federation. Yeah. Because of over the stuff that happened with the video that we talked about a while back about him missing reps and stuff. I think he just said fuck it to the whole federation. But yeah, so I think he does all that, like you said, the Iceland strongmans and maybe the Arnold. I'm not sure, but.
So do you think like powerlifting is going to change who loads bars now and stuff like that? Like, do you think there'll just be one person to load the bar, or like? Do you think there's going to be now more judges to make sure that the bar is loaded properly?
Yeah, I mean, like at USAPL, or at least the meets I've been to, there's probably 2 loaders and 1 head spotter. So there's 3 people working each side, and then there's always 3 judges, 1 on each side and then 1 right in front of you. And so you would think that between the 4 people that could see both sides,
right?
Like, I don't know. That would be in check, but I mean, just more training too.
Yeah,
I know that was a big problem at Collegiate Nationals last year, was that they had a bunch of spotters and loaders that they didn't really know what they were doing. This is like their first powerlifting event. Like they didn't know how shit was run, like, or even like super proper technique. Like haven't been spotting people for very long. Some of them just not strong enough to spot, especially some of like the equipped lifters and stuff that can push quite a bit of weight.
Well, and like people were obviously upset because, like you said, under good conditions, he probably could have pushed that weight. I know Sebastian Oreb, Thor's strongman coach, Australian straight coach, put a video out there where he was saying, or I don't even know the video, I was just going to post, it was human error. We're not robots. The person obviously wasn't trying to sabotage, and that's a shitload of plates on there. If it was 3 plates on either side, it's very easy to see, well, there's only 2 on one side. I mean, when you get 7, 8 plates on a side, like you have to sit there. It's very understandable. It's understandable that it happened, and at the same time, it's not, because it's such a big deal. You'd think if you're putting the weight on there, I would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, I would count it 4 or 5 times to make sure I had all of them.
And they're all in kilos too, so a lot of people, a lot of Americans kind of, I fucked it up for a long time for sure until I figured out, or just was around it enough.
Well, I don't know anything. I mean, like I can, like I'm better with the conversion, but like if you were gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna go for a 500 kilogram, whatever deadlift. Say you're going for a 500 kilos deadlift, like Thor. It's like I could not even get close to telling you how many red and yellow plate, that type. I don't know any of that stuff. So
right, yeah.
If you're not around it, then you don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the unique thing about the rec too, is that they have 55-pound bumper plates, because there's like very rare that they have bumper plates that are 55 pounds, especially in the United States. So
55 pounds, is that equivalent to a red plate then?
yep, it's 25 keys. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I thought so.
Oh yeah, all the good stuff. Shout out to Leico.
What?
Leico is the brand that they're from Sweden. That they make all the weights and most of the competition barbells.
More you know.
Yeah, it's like I didn't watch this video. I mean, I've seen a clip now, but I watched the entire stream of Thor pulling the world record. And so like I know when they were doing that, like they were even they weighed each plate to make sure it was exactly how much it's supposed to weigh before they put it on the bar, because I mean he was trying for a world record. And so like it was so meticulous how they went about doing it that there was almost no room for human error. So I guess were the same steps being taken with the bench press, or was it just kind of a little bit more of a
that's a good question. I'm not sure. I know it was streamed on ESPN live.
You could just tell Thor wanted there to be no room for no room for questioning that it was like this is how much this weighs.
Yeah, there was a lot of controversy over that lift too, but there was like nobody pointing fingers and like telling them that the weights were potentially not real and stuff with like I don't know. I think like Julius Maddox has the mutual respect of even his enemies, and it's like we know he doesn't. Yeah, but I mean, I would hope that they weighed everything beforehand.
Well,
for that shit. I mean, 800 pounds on a raw bench. That's fucking crazy.
Well, because I'm sure he trained for at least a year for that, if not longer, to get that goal, and then to have that outcome. Has he like put it out there that he's gonna go for it again anytime soon, or is he gonna have to like reset everything?
He hasn't said much.
Because that'll be an interesting thing. Because like even with that failed attempt at the 800-pound, and he couldn't get it locked out, that was still a lot of fatigue on just his body in general. And so it'll be interesting to see if like how soon it is if he does try to go for that again, or if he just tries to reset. And maybe he's like, if it would have been loaded right, I would have got the 800. So let's reset, but then let's go for a higher goal.
Right. Yeah.
Because he's still got all those, training adaptations from training this past year for that 800. So if he's just going off his, what's it called? Just guesstimated max, I guess you want to say, is 800. He could go for even a higher one this upcoming.
Eventually. The dude's just crazy too. Yeah. Like in training, it didn't seem like he missed anything. And it was just insane bench video after insane bench video. But yeah.
Well, and
like what's going on in CrossFit right now. But.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Before we get into that, you and your transitions.
Someone gotta help me out then. I didn't think that one was that bad. I mean, it would have been better if I just kept talking and nobody laughed. Like out loud when I did the transition, because then it makes it so much smoother, like whatever, but it's fine.
Well, I interrupted you because I just wanted to touch on something else really quick, but
oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I don't think we talked about, so Ronnie, we might have mentioned it. Ronnie Coleman was on Rogan's podcast. I don't think we talked about it last week. And I just watched it. I didn't watch all of it, but he was talking about some of his like back injuries and hip injuries. And he was saying when he was training, because he was like won the Arnold's, and not strong, man. He's a bodybuilder. I mean, he's still strong as shit, but like, seven times in a row. And he was saying that when he was, first off, he was saying he didn't take bodybuilding seriously until after he won his first Olympia, which is insane. So he won the Olympia and then was like, oh, maybe I should take this seriously. And then he was saying that, like, yeah, he was, squatting insane numbers, but people didn't realize that he was squatting like 600 pounds. But he was still doing hypertrophy reps at 600 pounds. So he was squatting 600 pounds like 12 times.
Yeah.
So people like Isaac, for example, like a 600-pound squat in a powerlifting meet for you would be insane, right?
pretty legit.
He's repping that for 12 times so he can build muscle mass, and so it was just insane to me.
Yeah, he talks about it a lot too from the genetic side. He thinks it's almost all genetic. He thinks that he's super blessed because he's always been super strong, he said.
Well, and he said he compared it to like the guys in the MLB. You know, like he's like, you know, Barry Bonds, those guys. He's like, I probably wasn't and obviously, so like guys that are winning the Olympia are taking steroids. And so he obviously wasn't natural, but he said he probably wasn't taking anything more than guys like Barry Bonds or like Mark McGwire were taking. He just was genetically, he's like 99% of people could never get as big as those people on stage are getting, no matter what you take. So like it's the genetics mixed with the training.
And like, I mean, also just like, I think how when he compared it to like Barry Bonds, stuff like that was like kind of I wouldn't say newer era of steroids, but now it's like, you know, there's set cycles now, like proven cycles that are better for you. And like you have people who around you who know so much about it and can get on and off and know the proper cycle essentially. Because I mean, that's what it is. Like it's all about how well you cycle it and like how, and then, I mean, and genetics do play a big factor too, just because, I mean, his size was incredible, just like how big he was. And then, like you said, how strong.
Right. Well, and you touched on it too. And I think we've obviously touched on it in this podcast too. Like steroids has such a negative stigma. And a lot of that comes from just like, you know, everything that happened in baseball and football and all this stuff. But if you do it correctly, like Ronnie Coleman was getting his steroids prescribed to him by a doctor. And so like if you're doing it correctly, doing it in cycles and, you know, just monitoring yourself, like he was getting like blood and kidney and liver tests every like 3 months, he said, just to make sure he's, you know, staying healthy. So it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not suggesting anybody listening to the podcast just goes and hops on steroids, but it's not the devil. You know what I mean? Like if you're doing it correctly, a lot of people talk about you do it correctly, then it's relatively safe to do.
Yeah,
well, obviously with side effects. I mean, you're not going to just take it and not have side effects.
Yeah.
And I mean, you also have, like, I mean, for like those bodybuilders, like Ronnie Coleman, his goal was, you know, to win the Olympia as many times as possible. Like that's his main goal in life. That's what he wants to do. So like, why should you negatively look at him if he just wants to better himself to compete? Because I mean, if you go in a natural bodybuilder competing in the, you're going to get your ass handed to you. You probably won't even, I mean, make it on stage. So it's just like for people
Go ahead. My bad.
For people to say like, oh, you're on steroids, it doesn't matter. Like they're still working their ass off in the gym.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you look at Ronnie Coleman, Kai Green. I mean, all those bodybuilders, like they're all working their ass off in the gym still. I mean, multiple hours and just multiple sessions. So it's not like steroids makes it easier. Yeah, for sure. It, I mean, enhances you a lot. But I mean, that's your goal in life. So, and as long as you're clear about it.
Yeah. For example, like if I could take steroids for 10 years and would I get big? I'd get huge. I have a good frame for it, but like, I don't think that I have the training experience, training intensity, and that dedication to ever get anywhere near the size of those guys. So it's just to take anything away from them is ridiculous. And then I was gonna ask, are there like natural divisions and to where they do tests and all that stuff?
So yeah, there's a bunch of natural not a bunch, I should say, but there's quite a few just like that weird. But there are natural competitions, but one thing, if you look at like a natural competition, you're just doing it for fun because you don't make anything in it. Like you can't support yourself if you just want to do bodybuilding on like a natural competitive stage. You would, I guess you'd say, because it's just the money's not there. People don't want to see like, I mean, some people definitely want to see like how well, but most of the time when you're going to bodybuilding, you want to see like, and don't take this the wrong way, but like the freaks of nature who just have muscles just ginormous.
The Ronnie Colemans of the world. Yeah,
exactly.
Here, I'll be right back, boys. I gotta go check something real quick. Continue without me. Don't have to hold it.
My shit is so laggy for no reason. Anyway,
You were fine the whole time until
the whole damn time, right? And now
I don't
it's
know
just
what happened.
bugging out for no reason. Like I've got the internet, I'm plugged in. Like
You were getting hacked.
Oh, that would be some shit, wouldn't it?
The government's listening in to what we're doing.
But transitioning into another field after talking about powerlifting and bodybuilding, transitioning now into kind of the opposite, into going into a little bit of CrossFit and how kind of their whole entire industry and $1 million industry is in flames because Isaac, take it away.
So the drama surrounding
just before you take off. See, that was a way better transition than what you were doing earlier.
Mine would have been so much smoother if you guys let me fucking talk, man. Everybody starts cackling right when I just try the transition, like right in the beginning. Right when you guys heard CrossFit, it was just done, dude.
All right.
Anyway, but so and some of the drama surrounding, or the majority of it, is when the CrossFit CEO, Alex, I believe is his first name, was on Twitter, and there was an article that was posted by another channel, I'm not sure the name of, that was basically about comparing George Floyd's death to the pandemic on its effects in America, right? But what he subtweeted under it was, instead of COVID-19, he said it's Floyd-19. And so just from that tweet alone, the next 3 days following the tweet, he had athletes like big names like Matt Frazier, Katrin Davidsdottir, drop out from their next competitions and from the league in general. Just because it wasn't something that they stood for and not something that they want in the leader of their brand pretty much their whole lives. It's focused around CrossFit as a sport.
Can I say?
Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you. And if people don't know who Katrin Davidsdottir, and then especially Matt Frazier, Matt Frazier's won the CrossFit Games, 3 straight years in a row now?
Yeah. Fittest man on the earth.
He's the main guy. Him and Toomey are the two main male and female. Yeah. So
for sure. Just very, very widely known people across all of fitness, very large followings and stuff. But 3 days following, a bunch of people were dropping out, probably sending him hate mail and stuff. And so he decides to step down as the CEO and promote Dave Castro, I believe, who is the games director for the CrossFit Games, the biggest competition. And so he got promoted to the CEO, and everybody loves him. I really liked him. I thought he did a really great job on the Netflix documentaries of the shows. I'm sure he had lots of say of kind of how they guided things, and I thought those were all really well put together and kind of gave a really good perspective into some of these athletes' lives and how hard they really work for something like CrossFit Games. But so he is the new CEO of CrossFit right now. I think that was a really smart move. I think after a tweet like that, you just can't come back very well, and I don't think he should be able to. And I think that everything's going in the right direction. But what just broke 2 days ago is that I think before he initially got pointed or something, the original Alex decided he's going to sell CrossFit as a brand. So he is selling CrossFit, but still keeping Dave Castro as the CEO. But I think it's a very weird kind of move to appoint somebody as a CEO and then still tell them that they can still run that position, but they're going to sell the company name or brands to somebody else, another third party.
Do you know, are they on the pub, do they have stocks and shares? I don't think they're public.
That's a good question. I'm sure.
I'm guessing he's just selling the whole entire CrossFit. I mean, because that's why what was it, a week and a half, Rogue held their own kind of virtual games because CrossFit didn't.
Right.
And so yeah, that's interesting. I wonder I wonder if Rogue could buy that. That'd be a huge like.
So Eric Rosa is the name of the gentleman that's buying it. And I just thought it was really interesting because this guy's like Instagram has 2 posts, and his first post was a day ago addressing the CrossFit community that he discovered like CrossFit 10 years ago. And obviously he's probably very wealthy, and so he's going to purchase it, and then encourage everybody to like reach out to his email, which is eric@crossfit.com. Which is, I don't know. I just think it's all weirdly like, I don't know. I've never heard of something like this happening where you tell everybody you're appointing the CEO, but there's not going to be 2 CEOs of this new CrossFit. It's going to be just this Eric guy. So I'm sure Dave Castro will just be kind of with like games directors and helping out with the kind of industry of CrossFit and what they do. But I don't know. It's just a very interesting move to just bail and then just sell it after he fucked up.
Real quick. Irv, because you were very eloquent with your words, give me like a quick 15-second rundown of what the hell is going on with CrossFit.
Basically, the original CEO was kind of a douche, and he was like blamed. He thought that the George Floyd stuff was going to spread more of the COVID-19. So in a post, there was like some article by somebody, and then under that, he basically put Floyd-19 instead of COVID-19. And then people were like, that's fucked up. So then they pulled out of games. So then he stepped down, appointed a new guy, but then he was like, backdoor was like, I'm going to sell the company, and then they can deal with it, type of thing.
Yeah. So he just
real smart, real quality guy, seems like.
Yeah.
Seems like it.
So from the information I've been presented, he seems like a very shit human being. But I don't know all the facts, and I'm only judging off of what I've seen. So.
Well, then are there allegations coming out too that he was like sexually harassing the female athletes as well?
Wow.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I forgot about that one. Yeah, so even more piece of shit because of all these allegations. Along with, I don't know if you guys have heard, Chris D'Elia has been having a bunch of allegations come out from a lot of different females, very young females too. And one of those people is Whitney Cummings too. A bunch of people came out and said that he's been like a predator in the past, and like there's like a shit ton of screenshots of him like trying to hook up with like girls under 18 and stuff. And so, yeah, it's crazy. But like,
Chris D'Elia is a well-known comedian.
Well, and honestly, the part about that whole, I mean, it's been going on, the Me Too movement, which I think is a movement that gets marred by a lot of controversy just for people that try and use it for situations that don't apply to them. Survivors, people that are abused have every right and should feel safe in coming forward. Like the same thing this week, someone came out and like accused Justin Bieber of sexually assaulting them in Texas, and Bieber basically pulled the receipts on him and was like, I was with my girlfriend at the time, Selena Gomez, that entire time. He's like, this is a receipt showing you I was at a restaurant at this time. This is a receipt showing you I didn't even stay at that hotel that she is claiming that I stayed at. And so there are people like that are falsely accusing people of sexual assault, and whether it be their interpretation of events or like clout, not even clout chasers, someone that's out here strictly spreading false information. It just makes situations like D'Elia's where it's like not that you want, I don't know, and the thing is it's like it's such a controversial thing, it's hard to put into words, because it's like these survivors need to be taken seriously, and they need to be they need to be believed.
Yep.
But then you want it to be proved, you know what I mean? And so like with D'Elia, there's just more and more stuff coming out to where it's hard to even question it or deny it. And so it's just, I guess with me, the thing that worries me about it is a lot of people will jump on like the cancel bandwagon of somebody before anything ever comes out. Like I'm sure Justin Bieber got thrown under the rug, and there are people out here searching for his head before he even had a chance to speak himself.
Well, that's not the first time it's happened to Justin Bieber, I'm pretty sure. Especially with Yeah, I don't know.
And it comes with the territory. And if you're famous and something like that, and whether you are engaging in illicit activity like that, anything you do is going to be under a microscope. So
Yep, 100%.
But yeah, and so like I said, I hope that there is less of those false accusations in the future, so there isn't this question of, well, can you believe this person that comes out? Because if someone is sexually assaulted or is preyed on like that, then there shouldn't be people out there that cause you to question it. You know what I mean? It should be a serious thing to where if those come forward, then then that's something serious, and that's not something that can be called into question.
Right.
I mean, that kind of goes along with any of the movements that have been going on right now, especially when like the protests started and were going on, right? People started rioting or whatever, and people automatically shifted it to a bad light, right? Like the protests kind of got discredited right away, and we're like, oh, they're just bad people doing bad things or whatever. So it's like it doesn't take that many people to like kill a movement or like stall it out. So it's like, yeah, you just hope to see that with any of these movements that are all the right things, right? Like they're just the hope that we have less idiots going around kind of messing it up for everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
But yeah, we'll see what happens with CrossFit.
Yeah.
They're an interesting bunch in the first place, but
yeah.
I think it could lead into like another company taking over kind of like the CrossFit territory or something like that.
Yep. Even like Rogue or Reebok, like those are the two biggest CrossFit sponsors. So
I see we get our episode entrance from Olivia in the background. Brock, is that what just happened?
That's funny.
Anyways, yeah, we'll just have to see. The whole lifting community and whatever aspect it is going through interesting stuff. So we'll see. Kind of see how that all plays out.
Yeah, I'm very eager to be able to update everybody.
All right, this last part of the episode is kind of a new segment that was inspired by one of our listeners, our friend of the show, Mr.
Mark.
Yep.
He's a real one.
I don't know if you guys have seen him lately, but his beard right now is hella strong.
I haven't seen him.
It is glorious.
Dude. I haven't seen him in a while.
Maybe he'll be at the gym tonight when we're working. But
hopefully.
I saw him the other day, and it was just glorious. And I was like,
he is a very strong person.
Absolutely. So shout out to him. He kind of gave us this idea, and we kind of took it and ran with it. So what basically this is going to be is we all had a task to go out and learn about something that we thought everybody else didn't know about, and we had to kind of teach the other three about it. You could pick whatever, it didn't have to be within the lifting realm or fitness, or could have been about genuinely anything. So I'm excited. I'm excited to hear what everybody kind of learned about. I don't know who wants to go first.
Good.
I can, I guess.
All right, bet.
No one else wants to. So I essentially
first off, introduce yourself. What year are you? What's your major?
Well, I'm a nutritional now. Well, first of all, I did kind of relate it back to school because currently I'm taking summer classes, and I'm taking a nutrition class where we have to essentially, the easiest way to state it is Irvin loves this class, and you just have to look at scientific articles and prove if there's enough evidence to essentially prove that the hypothesis or whatever the scientists made. So
the worst class ever.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. But anyways, our assignment was to look at a media claim. So let's essentially say like you're a doctor, and then you make a claim and say like something like, for mine was eating a vegetarian diet will prevent hair loss. And I found that media claim very interesting just because there's not much on that. You always hear about a vegetarian diet and all the benefits, but you never hear like hair loss and stuff like that. And so I did some background research and found that there was no statistical studies on it. and the doctors are actually like, they're actual doctors. They have their degrees. And so I don't know where they got this information other than like observational studies done. But so then what I did was I looked at the reverse hypothesis and looked at a vegetarian diet, and if essentially like what deficiencies you get from a vegetarian diet, and then those deficiencies can be correlated with hair loss. In a vegetarian diet or plant-based diet, you can have an iron deficiency, which has been studied on and proven, not really proven quite yet, but it has been studied to show that hair loss is apparent in said vegetarian diet. So it was interesting to read about how some doctors are saying like this one way and the other that way. But essentially what I'm trying to teach you guys is make sure you do your background research, and that a vegetarian diet cannot cause hair loss because, well, it cannot prevent hair loss because it's not quite studied or proven yet. Hair loss in general is really not a very studied topic. We all know, like, if you're genetically, if you genetically just have hair loss, you can lose it. Which earlier in the episode we learned Mr. Isaac has a genetic
I'm supposed to go
hair
bald,
loss.
I think. I'm not really sure though.
But
It's supposed to be like the myth or whatever. It's supposed to be your mom's dad. Like you have the same, like, I don't know, hair quality or whatever, and he's all bald on top. Like he's got that side, like hair on the side and stuff, but the top is just a chrome dome, dude. And he rocks it, dude. He gets a nice mustache in the winter, dude. But like,
but to give you hope, my hair is like 100%, like exactly like my dad and his brothers and his dad. So
all right, bet.
So that might be an old wives' tale. Who knows?
So my hair's pretty thick right now, so yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I said, Isaac, do your research. Is literally what Brox has been talking about.
Yeah.
And you're out here talking about wives' tales.
Wives' tales. Some wives' tales are true, bro, but it's whatever.
But yeah, hair loss is not related. Well, hair loss can be related to nutrition, but it is not fully studied on. So that's kind of something that I learned that was kind of interesting.
But yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
Happy
Isaac,
we could be a
would you
part
like
of
to go
your homework assignment.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, right.
All right. Get ready. So, what I have proposed for this week is the Molyneux question. And so this is a question that pretty much a clickbaity YouTube video that I found very, very interesting. And so it talks about this kid, or I should actually relate it. It's actually named after William Molyneux, who is in the late 1600s, a psychologist. And so he proposed the question, what?
You just said that's so weird.
Late 1600s, he's a psychologist. Anyway, but he proposed a question: if a person was blind from birth, and had a sphere, like just a foam sphere, and then a foam rectangle or square, and like would be able to tell the difference between those two foam objects by just feeling them, right? But if you were able to instantly cure their blindness, would they be able to tell between the two objects just by looking at it?
Okay.
And that's the question. And so they tried to solve this later, and I'm not sure on the dates, but later by correcting cataracts. So a boy grew up to be like 5, and then he had the first successful cataract surgery. So he was able to see, and what they found out from that was that he was unable to differentiate between the two objects. So that was pretty interesting. But at the end of the video, it talks about how that is kind of inconclusive because the healing process from cataract surgery can be kind of a long one, and it also can kind of like tamper maybe with some of like the decision-making process just because of the healing process is so long. But so to have a definitive answer to that question, they would need a way to have a instant blindness fix. So to be able to tell if those sensory stimuluses are connected in the brain, whether they're kind of like related, if they can picture what a sphere looks like in their brain and then project that to what they think it would look like in real life. We don't know. So interested to see what you guys think on that one. My personal opinion is I don't think that they would be able to tell which one. I think they're completely different senses, and I think without ever having to see or experience things, you wouldn't know which one is which.
So you said a sphere and a square, right?
Yep. Just like foam, you could feel like the corners of the square and then the smoothness.
That's what I'm thinking is that those corners, and like you said, it's hard to put yourself there because obviously you were able to visualize that, and so it's hard to remove that quality. But I just feel like the squares of that shape would be so distinctive to the touch that you would be able to look at it and, you know, obviously tell that one doesn't have that jagged edge to it.
Right. I don't know. I just thought it was a super interesting question that they didn't really have an answer for, other than testing it with cataract patients when they were just as good as guessing. They had 58% correct answers, so 8% better than guessing, which I took to be very similar to guessing. So.
Right, which statistically,
yeah, I can't
someone that
way,
someone that just passed a statistics course, which that would not be enough evidence to reject the null hypothesis.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, so that's what I had for that one. I just thought it was a really interesting question.
So for mine, I found this inspiration from a very, very educational site that everyone goes to for information, which is TikTok.
All right.
But while scrolling through TikTok, I did come across a video of a World War II veteran giving his recounts of an event in World War II. So being a history major, I was drawn to that. And so June 6th this year is the 76th anniversary of D-Day, which, you know, everyone in America at least knows about. Obviously the largest invasion in history. American, British, Canadian forces, you know, invading Nazi-occupied France via the beaches. But this guy was telling the story of something called Exercise Tiger, which I'm assuming you guys haven't heard of. I hadn't ever heard of it. But with such a large-scale invasion, they needed rehearsals, obviously. So, let me look up what the location was. I have it right here. So in April, the invasion happened in June. In April 1944, on Slapton Island in Devon, which is in Great Britain. Sorry. They were running a training exercise, and so they were using landing crafts called ATSs as the abbreviation. I can't remember what the whole word is, but they're landing crafts for tanks. So they're huge, just basically huge ships that they would put tanks on. But for this exercise, they put about 300 soldiers in each one. And so on the first day when they were practicing this, they wanted to get the soldiers acclimated to battle. So they were using live munitions, and the Navy was firing munitions over top of their landing forces. And basically, due to miscommunication on landing times, there ended up being, and it's not exact, like roughly like 400 friendly fire casualties, where basically the Navy bombarded their own troops because some of the landing units, which were supposed to hold off, there was a change in order. Rather than advancing, they were supposed to stay, and they didn't get the order and they advanced, and so the Navy ended up launching rounds on top of them. So to make it worse, the next day, and this is where this guy's story came in because he was on one of the ATS ships. While they were practicing, 9 German U-boats, which are basically submarine, they were like the start of submarines, super advanced for the time, saw the ships. And so these soldiers that are they were on tank crafts and not normal troop carriers, got attacked by these U-boats. And so 2 of the ships were sunk and 2 more were damaged. And so if I remember correctly, like of 800 troops that were on board 2 ships, I think like 750 plus died during training exercises. And then the ship that this TikTok got, this grandpa that was doing the interviews on TikTok was damaged, and their airflow system was crippled. So the diesel engine was pushing exhaust into the tank and into the carrier. And so they all were like laying down, breathing through wet rags, and they barely survived. But yeah, so then the general that was in charge of it forced everyone into silence, and was like, you can't tell your commanding officers and nobody under threat of court-martial. And when they released the casualties initially for D-Day, they attributed those casualties to the casualties on D-Day. And then it wasn't until years later that the operation was made public and they kind of admitted to their mistake. But yeah, so roughly 800 casualties as a result of a training exercise to the largest man invasion in history. Yeah, thought it was interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a big fuck up.
Big fuck up. Back-to-back days. Think about it. You're going into that second day and you're like, okay, well, it can't get worse than yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, wild.
Shit.
Wow. All right. I kind of cheated. So I have this big book right here. It's called the Big Book of Answers. And it kind of gives you the backstory of a lot of just common things on how they get their names, how they got started, things like that. So I have a couple ones that I'm going to share with you that I found interesting. But first I got to find them again. So give me a second.
Hugh Isaac rapping.
Do Isaac rapping? We'd have to come out with something for that. On the spot. Speaking of rap, though, the new "What's Poppin" remix with Jack Harlow has DaBaby, Tory Lanez, and Lil Wayne, bro.
Wow,
great song. Highly recommend.
I'll have to give it a listen today in the gym.
Oh yeah, and there's another good one that's only on YouTube. It's called Bass, and it's got Mercules, who is a Canadian rapper that I enjoy quite a bit. And who else does it have on it? I think it also has now I'm drawing a blank. Oh, it has Tech Nine, and then it has Hopsin. Hopsin's
Nice.
the last one. In my opinion, Hopsin just took the whole song. Big Hopsin guy. So
fair enough. All right, I got 2 for you guys, and then I'm gonna let you guys pick a page number. Now I'm gonna read you guys one from there. So the first one is, everyone's always curious as to why the Ivy League is called the Ivy League. And so it actually, none of it has to actually do with like the plant itself, like ivy. The first 4 Ivy League schools were Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and Columbia, and collectively they were known as the Interclassic Roman numeral 4 League, and they pronounced that IV. Like, that's how you pronounce, like, the Roman numeral, like, if you're just spelling it out or whatever. And then, so, when they had expanded, since they were still, obviously, they couldn't use the number 4 anymore, but the Ivy League kind of thing stuck. So now they just called it the Ivy League to kind of not have to rename things, but it actually just started as just the number 4.
Huh.
The more you know.
The more you fucking know, dude.
And then the other one is like, why do people say we're just going to go hang out? We're just going to hang out. Like, where does that saying come from? So, hanging out was originally an expression that it used to be used in the English shopkeepers, where they would put poles in front of their shops with different flags, and that's what would describe what goods they would have. And those flags were called hangouts, and people used to go there to linger and gossip with their friends and stuff. So that's kind of where that term "hanging out" came from.
Oh, that's kind of wild. I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah, so this is
figured
just
it was a
full
surfing
of
term.
what's up?
I figured it was like a surfing term. I don't know. That's what I thought. You know, like
Yeah, kind of wild. So if you guys want, you can pick a page number, and I'll read you one of the cool facts from there.
how
47.
many pages?
Oh, that's okay.
Ignore Isaac. How many pages?
It's like 470 or so, 460.
Okay, Isaac. What number did you say?
47.
You ever not gonna pick 47 as the first number?
Dude, 47 is the best number ever.
All right, 1, 2, or 3.
2.
All right, so this one is from the saying called "When in Rome," right?
Oh.
You kind of hear about that. See, if you wish to gain esteem and avoid grief, then it's wise to respect customs of the majority within any culture you may find yourself. When St. Ambrose was sent on a mission to Rome by St. Augustine, he was concerned about which holy day to observe, since the Romans fasted on a different day than was his custom. St. Augustine's wise advice is still with us. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. So basically, it was just he didn't know what to observe, so like just do whatever the Romans do.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
Interesting.
It's great if you're infiltrating another place. You just got to do what
Blend
they
in,
do.
basically.
Yeah.
What it,
Interesting. Huh.
all right,
The more you fucking know.
Brock. I mean Noah.
300.
Ooh. Let's see. Oh, that's a blank page. Do you want to go to 299 or do you want me to go to 303?
299.
Okay. This one says, what is a proverb? So it's basically just an ancient expression of practical truth or wisdom. So they were basically what was used before books. It was kind of the unwritten language of morality it's kind of what was the oral tradition of mankind before things were written down. It was kind of the wise words that were spread through generations before things were actually written down.
dope. I want the last fact in the book.
Last fact in the book. Let's find. See what it's about. It has random categories in here that make no sense as to why they're in here. But I mean, this one's a little more known one, I would say. I mean, I knew this one, but
Well, then go back one. Give me something obscure.
Okay, do you want me to tell you what the last one is, and then see if you want me
Yeah.
to say it or not? So it's like, what's a catch-22,
Oh, yeah.
and where that comes
let's go to
from?
the next one.
Okay. For those of you know, it's from a book called Catch-22.
Mm-hmm.
Great podcasting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, I got to read through these quickly too to be able to just tell them to you. Okay, cool. So this one is kind of what we're doing right now. So why do we call gossip or unimportant information trivia? So the Romans were well.
I don't fucking know.
The Romans were well known for the road building and from their Latin noun trivium, meaning a place where three roads meet. There derived the word for insignificant information. At a three-road intersection, traffic would slow and congest, offering a great chance for light gossip and meaningless conversation. So from tri meaning three and via meaning roadway, the Romans gave us trivia, a word for useless information.
Hell yeah.
Dope. I love that.
Hey, love
Useless information. That's all this is full of.
There you go. Now we're all a little bit smarter. Maybe.
Oh yeah.
We're better prepared for a game show.
Yeah.
And here's a little blitzkrieg fact for you. Jet fuel does not melt steel beams, but it does soften it enough.
There we go. Found that out. Also, shout out, Mark. Interesting and useful information.
There you go. That's what we
only
do.
Only the OG Mindcation fans will remember that podcast episode from.
Facts. That's true. That was
one of our OG ones.
That was one of the first or second ones.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're still here. And so that's all we got for you today. Hopefully you got something out of this episode, or at least we're entertained for the hour that you were with us.
Yeah.
If you enjoy what you heard, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube if you're watching this. If you're just listening to us, go ahead and follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to it. And then go ahead and follow us on our Mindcation Instagram page if you want to maybe stay up to what we're doing. Sometimes we post on there, sometimes we don't. It kind of depends.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll definitely know when episodes go live. So that is one thing.
Yeah,
if you're subscribed.
That's for sure.
That's
Keep
all I got.
sending us ideas. Keep sending us ideas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Well, maybe we'll keep this as a segment. Just learning.
Yeah, I like that.
Facts or trivia section.
Yep.
But yeah. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. We'll talk to you guys next week, and peace out.
Bye.